Hey there, I've got something special for us today. History has given us some pretty epic stories about extraordinary people. Leaders, artists, writers, musicians, folks who made their mark, and then some. But here's the thing. As much as we might want to put these figures on a pedestal, there's a truth that often gets swept under the rug. Humans are complex. We can do some truly beautiful, awe-inspiring things, and we're also capable of actions that are downright questionable. So today, let's dive into 7 figures you definitely know, but maybe don't know the whole story about. By the end, you might just rethink why we idolize people in the first place. First up, we've got Genghis Khan, the guy who basically rewrote the rules of conquest. This dude built the biggest contiguous empire in history, with a mix of military genius and, well, tactics that would make even the toughest warlords cringe. Case in point, his fiery animal strategy. Picture this: cats and birds gathered up, set on fire, and released back into their city. Yeah, that's not a fever dream. It was a real thing, designed to send a city into chaos. Terrifying, right? But here's the plot twist. Khan wasn't just a destroyer. He opened up trade routes that connected continents, ushered in an era of cultural exchange, and was actually big on religious freedom. So, ruthless conqueror and surprising champion of diversity, Khan was both, proving humans are as multi-layered as a mystery novel. Second on the list, Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote, "All men are created equal," the Declaration of Independence itself. Inspiring? Absolutely. But here's where it gets dicey. While Jefferson was penning those lofty words, he was also the owner of hundreds of enslaved people, profiting from their forced labor. Talk about a contradiction wrapped in irony. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's necessary if we're going to understand the full picture. Jefferson, the intellectual and visionary, was also deeply flawed. It's a reminder that even the architects of freedom sometimes fail to follow their own blueprint. Next up, Pablo Picasso. Art legend, innovator, the guy who could probably paint better with his eyes closed than most of us could with all our effort. He created works like Guernica, which captured the brutality of war in a way that hit hard and fast. But here's the not-so-glamorous side. Picasso was known for being manipulative and downright cruel in his relationships, especially with women. His romantic partners often talked about the emotional turmoil and abuse they faced. So, genius artist? No doubt. A role model in personal conduct? Not so much. Picasso's life serves as a reminder that creative brilliance doesn't erase personal flaws. Number 4. We've got Ernest Hemingway. The man. The myth. The typewriter-clad legend who redefined literature with his terse, powerful prose. The Old Man and the Sea, anyone? Hemingway's work captured raw human emotion and the struggle for meaning, and he won both the Nobel and Pulitzer Prizes for it. But behind the literary accolades was a guy wrestling with some serious demons. Hemingway was known for his heavy drinking, ego-driven spats, and even violence. His personal relationships were rocky, and he battled mental health issues that ultimately led to his tragic end. The takeaway? Even the most influential voices in literature can be haunted by inner battles that don't make the dust jacket. Number 5. Caravaggio, the wild card of the art world. The guy who took light and shadow and made it dramatic enough to feel like a movie scene. His works brought biblical stories to life with raw, emotional depth. But here's the kicker. Caravaggio's life was basically an action movie, minus the hero arc. He had a temper that was legendary, and he even killed a man over what was reportedly a dispute about a game. The result? Fleeing Rome as a fugitive. So, the same artist who gave us The Calling of St. Matthew was also involved in a murder. Artistic genius and real-life drama. Caravaggio had both in spades. Sixth on the list is Ludwig van Beethoven. This is the guy who composed music so transcendent, people still lose themselves in it centuries later. He wrote some of his greatest symphonies while completely deaf. Talk about perseverance. But Beethoven's personal life was, let's say, not as harmonious as his music. He had a fierce temper, strained relationships, and could go from tender to explosive in the blink of an eye. Friends and patrons often bore the brunt of his volatile outbursts. Yet he left behind music that spoke to the human spirit, proving that the man behind the masterpiece was as complex as the chords he composed. Last, but definitely not least, Mahatma Gandhi. Known worldwide as a symbol of peace and non-violence, he led India's fight for independence and inspired countless civil rights movements. His philosophy of satyagraha, or peaceful protest, is still studied and revered. But Gandhi's legacy isn't without its uncomfortable truths. His attitudes toward women, as revealed in some of his writings, were problematic, and his personal experiments, such as sharing his bed with young women to test his celibacy, raised ethical eyebrows even then. It's a reminder that even icons of peace can have shadows in their story. So what's the moral of this history lesson? Genghis Khan, Thomas Jefferson, Picasso, Hemingway, Caravaggio, Beethoven, and Gandhi were all capable of incredible feats that changed the world. But they were also capable of actions that were harmful, contradictory, or downright unsettling. Humans are complex. Idolizing people, whether they're leaders, artists, or writers, can lead to a pretty skewed view of reality. Instead of turning these figures into untouchable icons, we should aim to understand their full stories, good, bad, and everything in between. That way, we can appreciate their contributions without glossing over their flaws and learn to think critically, not just follow blindly. And hey, even those of us who don't have statues or bestsellers, people like you and me, are capable of both wonderful and not so great things. Recognizing this helps us understand that human complexity is universal. It helps us navigate life with a bit more compassion and a lot more realism. If you found this dive into the real stories behind history's greatest figures thought-provoking, hit that like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And tell me, who's a historical or cultural figure you admire but have mixed feelings about? Let's chat it out. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.